Then she arose with the daughters-in-law that she might return from the country of Moab, for she had heard in the country of Moab how that the Lord had visited his people in giving them bread. So there's food in Judah again. So she decides she's going back home, and she's going to take her daughters-in-law with her. Now, as soon as they get on the road, she decides, this isn't right for me to take you with you. I don't have any children. This is a pivotal point in the story of Ruth, in the story of the Old Testament, the story of the world. This moment is pivotal. When she tells them, y'all go home, they say, no, we're staying with you. We belong to you. She tells them again, y'all go home. I have no more sons. I won't have sons. If I was married today and had sons, you couldn't sit around and wait for them to be old enough. I'm dead. You're dead if you come with me. This life is over. Go home to your people. Go home to your gods. And Orpah does. That was an intimidating enough message that there's only death where I'm going. The line ends with me. Go back to your gods. Go back to your people. Orpah does. Ruth doesn't. And her answer, 1:16, 17. Okay, somebody read 16 and 17.
But Ruth replied, don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if anything but death separates you and me.
Okay. That's Ruth's statement of faith. This is where Ruth Orpah chose her gods, her people. And why wouldn't she? That's where she's from. That's her gods. That's her gods. That's her people. It was what she knew, or death, to go with Naomi. Ruth chose Naomi's God. Now that's not. It is because Ruth loved Naomi, but there's got to be more to the story. This has to be an urging from God. He invited her into a relationship. Probably Ruth was Mahlon's wife. Probably Mahlon was a godly man and spoke to her about the God of Israel. Probably told her about the history. Probably Elimelech was a godly man. This wasn't just a happenstance on the side of the road where Ruth decided, I'll go with you, there is death. She had heard, in essence, the gospel. She was presented the gospel, and she had to choose. And I feel like God invited her right then, and treated her heart, come with me. There's more than death if you obey this calling. And she did. She decided to go with Ruth, or to go with Naomi, even though what might have been death, she felt like her God was more important. That's not a slight saying, your God is now my God, your people is my people, and I'll die where you die. That is Ruth's statement of faith, and I feel like through that statement is the blessing that we'll find out she came. Okay, so now they're back in Israel. They have nothing. Naomi is a little bit, down in the mouth about the whole thing. She comes back. She changes her name to Mara. She doesn't want to be called Naomi because she feels like God's hand is against her. She's feeling sorry for herself. She feels like maybe she did something wrong, or Elimelech did something wrong, and now God has no more blessing for her. So they're back home, and that takes us to question number 8. We're sitting at home, and it's time for something to happen. They need to provide for themselves. Chapter 2 starts with, and Naomi had a kinsman of her husband, a mighty man of wealth of the family of Elimelech. So who was Boaz? A rich relative. Okay, so that's important. the bloodline there is important. He's Elimelech's family. He's a mighty man of wealth, and that'll of course come into play also. All right. Ruth told Naomi, let me go out and glean in the field so that I can feed you and myself. Hard-working girl, no doubt. What it meant to glean was during the time of the harvest. The reapers would come in and they would leave the corners of the field. And they wouldn't pick every bit of the kernels of, this is the barley harvest right now. They wouldn't pick all the barley kernels. They would leave some behind. And that was comes from in Leviticus the law, God's provision for the poor. It's so that they can come back, the poor can come back, and it's kind of the welfare system for the Israelites. They can have the corners of the fields, and they can come back and glean what's left over. So it was sinful to go and strip pick the whole harvest. So Naomi told Ruth, I'm going to go out and I'm going to glean for us in a field. And it was Boaz's field. Now, Naomi didn't tell Ruth to go to Boaz's field. She just said, okay, go do it. And the Bible here says, and it was to light on a part of the field belonging to Boaz. She happened to go to Boaz's field. That I believe she was led by the Lord to go there, obviously for the fulfillment of the story. I don't think God's sitting back watching how this whole thing plays out. I think His word was His word before it was printed on these pages. So He led Ruth. He led Ruth to Boaz's field. And all right, true or false? The workers respected Boaz as a godly man and leader. We get that from 2:4, and says, and behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem and said to the reapers, the Lord be with you. And they answered him, the Lord bless thee. I wish we had that relationship with all of our bosses and the people who work for us. When you walk up, God bless you, God bless you. That obviously the people respected him. He probably stood out in amongst the Israelites at this time as being a godly man. In this time of judges where everybody did their own thing, Boaz seemed to be a godly man, and his workers seemed to respect him as a godly man. All right. And he immediately, after he greets all of them with the blessing of God, and they greet him back, he goes to his head harvester there, is overseeing it, and he immediately notices her. Who is this lady out here gleaning? Who does she belong to? So, I mean, he's close with his word. He spotted her immediately. And the foreman there, the honcho, tells him this, this is Naomi's daughter-in-law. She's the Moabitess girl, came back, and she's been working all day long in the field. She's been out here gleaning with your handmaids. She only took a short rest in the the field house here, but she's been at it all day. I think Boaz was impressed. I mean, I won't embarrass you. One of my favorite sights in the time I've been married to Wynn, and just a thing that I always go back to in my head and my heart was I came home one time, and it was cold outside. She had sweat clothes on and everything, but she had a pair of lopping shears, and she was tangled all up in briars and vines. Anyway, she's out there clearing fence row when I come around the corner, and I love that. There's nothing more attractive than a good, hard-working woman, and I think Boaz felt the same way. I mean, that's immediately he saw her out there, and that was he spotted she's out there. The man said she's been out here all day long, and I think it impressed her. So he invites this Moabitess handmaid, maidservant, to come eat supper with him. So she eats supper with him, and obviously she's probably intimidated by him. He's the big man. She's just some Moabite girl. So I think I see it in my head. She's sitting there eating real, small bites and everything. He's like, you come back and you work with my handmaids. Don't go somewhere else. At this time, it was probably dangerous for women to be, especially a Moabite woman, to be working in the field with the reapers. There was probably a threat of harm to them. But anyways, he said, I'll protect you. They won't do anything to you. You come back and you glean in my fields through the rest of barley harvest and wheat harvest. And furthermore, I'm going to send you home. I know who you are, and I appreciate what you've done for my family, for your family. This is a godly thing. There was a respect there immediately for her, and but he didn't take advantage of the fact that she was probably a little starstruck by him. He told her, I respect what you're doing, and I appreciate it. You keep coming back. I got a lot more work. Take this to Naomi. Gave her 6 helpings of barley. Go home and take this to Ruth. So they go back, and that takes us to chapter 3. They worked out there to the end of barley harvest or wheat harvest. All right. In chapter 3, verse. Okay, this is when Naomi thinks she's going to take over. It's time now. I'm going to find you a home. I'm going to find you a man. This is what I want you to do. I want you to dress up, clean up, put your perfume on, go to town. And Boaz, they're out. It's the harvest is over. They're winnowing the grain now. It's kind of a celebration type deal at this time of the harvest. The hard work is done. It's evening time winnowing in the field house. Everybody's drinking a little wine, tossing grain there. All the men are having a good time. I go to town after he goes to bed and lay there at his feet, and he'll tell you what to do. So Ruth, being the obedient young lady she is, said, I'll do everything you told me to. So she did. She got dressed up in her best duds there and waited till Boaz had plenty to eat and drink, and his heart was merry. He laid down, and she came in, laid down at his feet. All right. Now, a little sidestep history to this. Ruth, the Moabite people come from the descendants of Lot. If you remember Abraham and Lot, Abraham went to Sodom and told Lot, we got to go. And the only people that made it out was Lot and his 2 daughters. His wife almost made it out. She turned around. She got turned to a pillar of salt. So you've got Lot and 2 daughters, and they escape up to a mountain. His daughters say, our lion will die with us if we don't have a child. So they got Lot drunk, and they laid with him. They became pregnant, and the older one had a child named Moab. Got the father drunk, had a child with him by that, and it became the Moabite people, the descendants of the people who Ruth is. On the other hand, you've got Boaz. Boaz is, I don't know, probably about 4 or 5 great-grandpa was Judah. Judah had a son and married Tamar. He died, no son for Tamar. Gave the next son, Tamar, he died. The third son, Judah, refused to give Tamar, so she dressed up like a prostitute during the sheep shearing harvest, or festival. While Judah was drunk, she tricked him into laying with her and became pregnant and had Pharez. So on both sides of this story are the same deal. And now here we are with Boaz laying there with a merry heart, which is Bible code for he's had a little bit too much wine to drink.
He's happy.
And Ruth,
He's happy.
he's happy. And Ruth laying there waiting for his instruction.